Hello, Internet. This is Daniel, Driving and Dragons, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the systems that I really like for character creation. See you on the other side. So when I'm talking about character creation here, I'm actually not talking about the rolling process of characters. I will take care of that on my opinions on that on another video, but I'm talking about backstories and developing a character that is useful to the game master in order to build the campaign, in order to have some personal involvement for your character in the story, and to feel more immersed in the game world. And just a couple of my favorites here. I'm a writer myself. It's something that I enjoy doing. It is something I've always done as a hobby, as something to relax and to stimulate my mind and to get away from the rest of the world for a little bit. So I've never had a problem scribing up a backstory. But some of us don't really. Some of us have an issue with that. There's two major issues we have. One, you have the just utterly uncreative type who really can't come up with a backstory outside of trying to copy some pop culture reference or novel character. And then, of course, on the other side, you have the Diarrhea of the Mouth character creator who gives the game master a 8-page novella, an 8-page short story that is detailing all this information, some of which is actively contradictory to the game master's world or just doesn't fit, and it's really just too much of a chore for the game master in the first place. So how do you find the happy medium? Well, for one, framework. Major events are what should really be focused on in your character's backstory, and realism is what should be focused on in your character's backstory. And when I say realism, I mean things like your first level character does not have some extensive military background. Yes, I've said it before, the PC characters in most of these games, particularly when you start talking about like Dungeons & Dragons, your first level character is a Olympic level athlete. They're already a caliber above the average person. That's what makes them special. And then, of course, in other games like Cyberpunk, you're not really much anything super special to begin with. But just because you are a higher talent level than most people does not mean that your character is this extensive military background with all these kills and stuff like that. You don't have, you're not a bounty hunter with or you're not a vigilante who has 100 kills to his name because you're first level. You don't have 100 kills to your name. If you had 100 kills to your name, you wouldn't be first level. So you got to be realistic in those terms, like within your game world and within the framework that the GM has set up. You're not going to be this world-renowned cavalry commander at first level. So you got to have some realism to it. The other thing is that you want to focus, you want to give a framework. You don't want to build a house, you want to build a frame. So that the game master can go in and create around it and work it in. If you're too detailed, they can't do that. So you might have a major situation where your sister was kidnapped and you had a great history. The sister you grew up with who raised you because she was your much older sister, she was kidnapped by slavers. Kidnapped by slavers. You might even say she was kidnapped by orc slavers, or she was kidnapped by a booster gang that sold her into slavery. That's all you need. You don't need to have this lengthy and elaborate story about how you quested for her and tried to find her and all this stuff they did to her and all these things and how she eventually rose up and became the booster gang leader. Don't do that. Focus on a handful of major events. Hey, sister was kidnapped. Reunited with sister as an adult, that sister had become leader of a booster gang. That's it. Let the game master fill in all the little bit. And I can't stress enough that one of the things that I really like is the life path system from Cyberpunk Red. It is fantastic because it's got all these charts in it where it's like roll a d6 and you have these 6 things, like how many friends do you have? Roll a d6 and it's going to tell you what kind of past relations you have. Then you roll another d6 for each of these people and it tells you what they are. And then you can roll another d6 on another chart and it'll say something that was important about them. So you might say, roll that you have, do you have how many past romantic interests do you have? You roll the dice, okay, you have one major romantic interest in your past life. Okay? And then we roll what it is, you didn't break up, you're not still together, they died. So then you roll on the other chart and it says that they died because they were killed by a booster gang and now you have a great hatred for that booster gang and want revenge against them. Wham, bam, bam. All you really need to come up with is a name for who this person was, but you had a significant romantic relationship in the past. That person died. They were killed by a booster gang. That is a framework that your game master can work with. It's not something for you to write a novella about, because if you do that, there's no way for him to fit it in. There's too many things he can screw up or that can be contradictory because of this massive backstory that you put in your head. So when you're creating your character, remember, backstory should predominantly be a framework of items that the game master can use to fit into your scenario. And that's what's going to lead to you having more involvement in your backstory in your games, is when you give little pieces of information that can be built off of instead of trying to create these elaborate backstories. So that's what I got today, just on character creation and backstory creation. Look into some of these systems that are out there for rolling a backstory, that they can help you quite a bit if you're somebody who is not as creative. But if you are somebody who has more of a creative bent and has more of a big, who's really excited, just remember to temper it back. Less is more in this case. If you can give a handful of major events that would shape your character's life and maybe give us a reason why you hate orcs is because they kidnapped your sister, now your game master has something to work with. So that's the advice for today. Let me know what you think below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.